Tell me about reality TV because you sort of became enamored of it. I mean, other people look down on it, but you not only kind of liked it and found it fascinating, you also participated. I mean, you did the two hard ones, and you did the latter one with your dad, which makes the whole thing even weirder. Tell me what that was like, and what you think you got out of it.
Well, the first time Survivor was on, I was maybe 30 years old and was in the business and making stuff. And it was just like, I really found it like a revelatory. I do still think that it was a very for someone from my point of from as a writer, where, so much of TV and even movies was a lot about, likability and characters that, like this kind of more, like it had a more kind of schematic of, this type of character is this and this, it's like, and then they had this show which was like won by like a very Machiavellian gay nudist, and like, and then just the whole constellation of people in it were, they were, one week they were, you're rooting for them, and then the next week they were horrible. And it was like, it felt very true to life in a way that these scripted shows didn't even come close to. And so when you talk about, what you're saying, how you're describing my stuff, it's like, well, that's kind of what a good, obviously reality television has now become so saturated, and it's, it's like it's its own beast. But like in that original beginning, there was something very much like, God, I want to write characters like this that surprise you, that are, like have all these different sides to them, and are funny but unlikable, but what, just like all these different things. And so I kind of started, really watching reality TV just because I got inspired by it, just like I get inspired by people in real life. And then I don't know, some reason I was just like, at some point I was like, making movies is very tedious, it's really, it's like, you're driving on the 405 to a soundstage. It feels like a job. And, often it's a very tedious job. And so like, you go into it as a young person, and I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie and love novelty. And so it's like, the idea of like, being a character, like a Bond character who's jumping off of like a dam and on a bungee, it's just, I was just like, it's like that experience seemed to be cool to me. And then just through a weird series of events, the casting people at The Amazing Race were like, you should go with your dad. And at the time I was like, oh, I don't want to go with my dad because like he was like 68 years old. And I was just like, I really was going there as like a competitor. And then I went with him, and it was an amazing experience to have that time with him. But it was also really interesting because my dad had spent so much of his life post coming out as an activist going to these places and wanting to show that gays are, he joined Jerry Falwell's church as a member, moved to Lynchburg in, his 50s with his partner to just try to like represent to the churchgoers there that gays are just like you. We're just like you. Da, da, da. And he was spit on, he had so many, there's so much hostility to him. And I think he was really damaged by all of that. And it was crazy. He went on this show with me, and he showed who he really is, which is a very funny, like affable, like very lovable person and a good father. And it was weird how this reality show moment was like so kind of cathartic for him because people would see him on the street and be like, you're so cute. I love your relationship with your son. And it was weird. Like in those moments, you realize that's what he was trying to get all along. And it was just such a funny series of events that ended up being this kind of, giving him this kind of satisfaction that like all his activism couldn't give him.